The more interactive we make it, the better it is for all of us. Can we all go on mute, please? Thank you. Right. So that's what we're really going to talk about. Would love for you to share your experiences, your thoughts around the topic, and that's what's going to make it an enriching session. Just before we begin, moving on, Zaira.
Yes.
Okay, it's not come up yet. Yeah. So just before we begin, feel free to get your coffees. Let's leave our phones aside because the idea is that we give our 100% here. Share your experiences, ask questions. We'll answer them to the best of our ability. Put on your camera so that we can see you. And we are hoping that by the end of the session, we all will go back with having learned something new. Even if not learned something new, perhaps just it would have triggered reflection in us, reflection on how we react to feedback, how we take feedback, and what can we do different to make it better. So here's looking forward to it. And you know, what's a session and what's life without any fun? So we are going to hand it over to Zahira, and we are going to have like an interactive fun game here. So Zaira, let's spin.
Kindly be on mute, please. Just give me a minute. All right, Malati, take it.
Great, it's just taking a bit to come on. All right, so while this comes on, it's still not on, Zaira.
Achha, what's your favorite quote?
It's not come on yet.
Okay, you can start. What's your favorite quote?
All right, so everybody in the room whose name starts with an R, can you answer this question for us? What's your favorite quote? So I can see Rahul. Rahul, what's your favorite quote? Okay, there's someone with the name Realme 8 Pro.
Come on, everybody. Okay, my name doesn't start with R, but Malati, if you allow me.
Sure.
May I?
Go ahead.
Even if you allow me also.
Does somebody want to share?
Yeah, you can go on first. Zahira,
No, please go ahead.
Okay.
No, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my favorite is expectation is the mother of all frustration.
Expectation is the okay.
Right.
Expectation, the mother of all frustration. Very good.
Great, thank you.
Who's going next?
Shruzant has typed his favorite quote is feedback is a gift.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Necessity is the mother of invention. Okay, great.
Sabita has typed learning and leadership are indispensable.
Indispensable, yes. Great. Zahira, can we bring on the next?
Maybe add one more thing from Einstein.
Sure.
It's you know, if you're doing the same thing and like the definition of being crazy is when you are doing the same thing and you are expecting a different result.
Great. Thank you, Dia. And that's very relevant because that's what we're going to talk about. Awesome.
And just
And
very,
we-
Puneet says a couple of things. With great power comes great responsibility. And Rahul is saying the purpose of our life is to be happy.
Wonderful. Okay,
Right.
here's the next one. With everyone whose birthday is in May, if you had to delete all 3 apps from your smartphone, which one would you keep? In the meantime, Lakshmikant's written, time is limited. None should waste. Okay, great. So do we have any people with birthdays in May? No. Okay, June. All right, anyone can go then. Which are the 3 apps that you would delete from the 3 apps from your smartphones which you would keep? If you had to delete all but keep 3, which would be those ones? So I would keep Google Maps. I would keep Google Maps. I would keep WhatsApp, and I would keep my mail. Okay, so Rahul is saying WhatsApp, Facebook, and Google.
Mine would be Maps, Amazon, and WhatsApp.
Oh, Amazon is a good one. Okay, great. Dia says Maps, WhatsApp, and Samsung sports tracking. All right. The fact that you're walking. All right. Savita says WhatsApp, email, and LinkedIn. It's interesting that like WhatsApp is something that we all don't seem to be able to live without. And here's Puneet saying YouTube, Amazon, investing.com. Sumer, Maps. What's Grameen Connect, Sumer? I haven't heard about it. LinkedIn.
It's on sports app. Like I use it for like daily tracking of my like. It has
Okay.
all the cycling activities, all health activities are there.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So we have some health freaks. So Sushant is saying YouTube, email, and WhatsApp. Okay. Great. All right. Let's spin it again, Zaira.
Let's spin. Can you see it spinning?
There you go. What are you currently watching on Netflix? That should be interesting.
Money Heist.
Money Heist. Has the new season come, Ashish?
The 5th one is going to come in September.
Oh, okay. That's what we're all waiting for. Okay, Money Heist. All right. Who else? Oh, Dia loved Money Heist. So did I. No time to watch Netflix. Oh God, Puneet. Okay.
Okay, we're talking pre-sprint, guys.
Pre-sprint. Okay. What would you watch pre-sprint on Netflix? Okay. Anybody else? I finished watching The Bold Type and I'm waiting for the new season, which is, I think, tonight or something. So I'm looking forward to it. Anybody else? All right, not Netflix, Amazon Prime. What are you watching? No Netflix. Okay, Savita says no Netflix. Okay, let's spin once more then.
And we get this one.
Ooh, what song do you currently play on repeat, guys? Is there a singer on the team? Can you sing it for us? So, Zaira, what are you humming? You're on, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say, हम होंगे कामयाब, हम होंगे कामयाब एक
एक
दिन,
दिन
ओ मन में विश्वास. Sorry, Dia, did you get that?
we
It
shall
just
overcome. That's what it is. I can't sing, but that's what it is, right?
this is related to the sprint, saying that we shall overcome this sprint.
Great.
Okay, sprinters, do you relate to this sentiment? Very
Okay,
nice.
Rahul is saying कुछ भी असंभव नहीं है, सब कुछ संभव है. Great. Okay. Song in your heart. There has to be a song in everyone's heart. Okay.
That mine came from my heart only.
Wonderful. What about the rest?
Mine is Teri Aankhon Mein by
Go ahead.
Rahul and Neha Kakkar.
Ashish, go ahead. Come on.
No, I don't sing. This is the song that I listen to.
Oh my gosh. I think if I can sing, any of you can sing.
Jyoti, what's the song in your what song do you listen to on loop?
क्या मालती हमारी ही ले रही है?
बेकरार करके हमें यूं ना जाइए.
Oh, आपको हमारी कसम लौट आई. Okay, great.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. I think should we spin or should we proceed? Malti, you let us know.
Just one last one. We'll spin once more. And Puneet is saying, I just called to say I love you. Okay, that's a wonderful song too. Let's spin just once more and then we proceed.
Can you see it?
Not yet.
What's the worst advice you've been given?
What's the worst advice you've been given? Okay. Come on, guys. We need more participation here. Okay. I don't want to pick on names. So
Dia is saying not to work so hard.
Okay, don't accept motivation. It's not worth the effort. Okay. Not to work with so much passion. That's the worst advice that's been given. Okay. So everyone's saying that there's merit in working hard and, okay, and you got to be self-motivated. Great. Okay, thank you for sharing. Let's move on. So we dive straight into the workshop now. And what we're going to do is, Zaira is going to, divide us into breakout rooms on Zoom. And within your groups, you will have about 7 to 8 minutes to share a time that you received uncomfortable feedback. So there are 3 questions that you have to answer while you're in your groups. A, talk about the uncomfortable feedback that you received. How did you feel at that time? What did you do with that feedback? Okay, what did you do with that feedback? And I'd request each one of you to take a picture of this slide so that when you are in your breakout rooms, you know what are the 3 questions. So I repeat that once Zahira breaks us into breakout rooms, within your groups, please share a time that you received uncomfortable feedback. What was that feedback? How did you feel at that time? And what did you do with that feedback? So after 7 to 8 minutes, there will be a broadcast message. Zahira will request you to join back the room. And then once you come back, one person from each group will have to share with the larger audience what were the themes that emerged in terms of, what are typical times when you've received uncomfortable feedback? What were your typical reactions to that? And what did you do with it? So there's going to be breakout, 7-8 minutes. You come back, one person from each group will share what was discussed in the group without really getting into specifics. and we'll have about 10 minutes to do that debrief. So that's what we're going to do over the next 15 minutes or so. I request you to take a picture of this screen so that all of you have the questions with you when you get into breakout. Any questions before Zahira takes us to breakout rooms? All right.
Everybody understood it? Okay. So Malti, they come back after 10 minutes?
About 8 minutes. About 8.
Okay.
8, yeah, we'll
okay.
chat. So
okay. Guys, after you're done, you can return to the main screen after 8 to 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Navneet? Yeah, Malti, you can hear me? Did you join a room and come back, Malti?
yeah, but there was nobody else in that room. But there's still 6 participants here.
Just take their names and let them go to the rooms. Just take their names.
Navneet.
Navneet, Samir, you may like to join. Navneet? Navneet, Samir, you may like to join. Okay.
Okay,
Malti,
Navneet. Samir's joined. I think Navneet needs to join.
Navneet, are you there? Can you hear us? Malti, tell me when it's 8 minutes, I can give them a reminder.
Okay. So will you be able to create a poll?
So, you know what?
I can
Malti?
quickly,
Yeah.
I can quickly read out the thing to you if you want.
And I don't, because it's not my link, no? I don't know how to get into his, because I have to get in the back end. So I'm just checking. Malti, should we just put them into breakout rooms again?
Why?
Because for the poll thing later.
For the poll thing, meaning?
Yeah. So what's happening is this is Jyoti's link, and I don't have access to the what do you say, back end right now, because I have to go and create the link. Then you understand?
Okay.
Yeah, I can't even see the poll option here, which means he's not enabled it for this link.
Okay. So can you ask him to enable?
He's in the breakout room now.
Or can we use the Mentimeter for the poll?
I'll just try that. I'm going to minimize this. I'll just try that. Tell me when it's time, okay?
Yeah, we have about 4 minutes. Navneet, can you please join your breakout room? Are you there?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm there, but how do I join it? Because I think the access is not there right now.
Oh, Zaira?
I'll assign you.
Yeah, can you assign him, please?
There, now you can go.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just trying to now. I've got too many windows open.
Zaira, you assigned me to room 1. There was nobody there in that room. I think I was the only member there. So can you assign me to some other room?
Yeah, you've come back 1 second. Yeah, I physically put you. Has he gone? Malti, has he gone?
On.
Okay, I'm just trying to get into the Mentimeter thing now. Let's see.
Okay, Zaira, can you send them a reminder that they have to come back 1 minute?
1 sec, I need time to do this. Let them talk meanwhile.
Okay.
1 second. Huh? Just quickly tell me, dictate to me the slide.
Wait. Mm. Wait, it is exclusion. Can you hear me?
Yeah, 1 minute. Huh? Yeah.
Exclusion.
Not able to type in it. So we do multiple choice. What do we do? Ranking. Okay. Yeah.
Exclusion.
Just no. The question.
What are your fear?
The question.
No, the question was, which of the emotions have you?
What are?
Which of the emotions / fears you've experienced recently?
Experienced. Yeah. Now tell me item 1.
Exclusion.
Yeah. Item 2.
Lack of control.
Yeah.
Rejection.
Next.
Loss of face.
Next.
Self-doubt. Fear of failure.
Self-doubt and Fear of failure, right? Yeah, this is done. Please.
Okay, and now how did you find this session? That we will ask them to put it in chat only, or do you want to create a quick word?
Yeah. No, we don't have time. So this is done. Now I save it. Where do I save it? Saved. Okay.
You want to call them back?
Yeah, I'll have to call them back.
Once you call them back, let this slide be on in full screen, and then we will do a debrief. Navneet, are you back? Okay, people are getting back from there. Great. All right. Do we have everybody back?
I think we don't. We are still expecting a few.
Yeah.
I'll close the breakout rooms.
Sure.
How much time are we?
We've given them 10 minutes.
sir, bolu. नहीं हुआ नहीं 2 मिनट ब्रेक लिया वीडियो बंद कर वो वीडियो बंद करके यू कैन टेक अ ब्रेक हाँ
Guys, can I request you to go on mute, please?
Yeah, so broadcast a message. 40 seconds, the rooms will close.
All right, cool. Can we have this on full screen, Zaira?
Can you see it?
It's not on full screen.
But you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Okay, great. So now that most of us are back, Hitesh, can we please go on mute? Thank you.
Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, but it's not full screen.
Yeah, it should be full screen.
Press the present button.
Yeah.
I did that. I already did that.
Oh, so
Yeah.
maybe it's loading then.
Yeah,
Maybe
it must
it's
be
loading.
loading. Okay, I think everyone's coming back. So do we have group 2 back? Breakout group 2 back?
Yeah, I was in group 2, yeah.
Perfect. So who from group 2 is going to tell us what was discussed and what were some of the themes that emerged?
So hi Malati. So myself Puneet from group 2. So
Yes.
we were Jyotiji, myself and Rahul in the group.
Okay.
So mine Jyotiji, we were basically like, in my case it was that you are always trying to be in an imposing position, very aggressive, always trying to impose our ideas upon others, not trying to listen to what other person has to offer or come to a conclusion at a very early stage. So similarly, in case of Jyotiji was also the same, that the feedback that he received was that he's not a very good listener basically, and he speaks while the other person is not yet finished. So what we were also discussing, that some phrase from a book which said, seeking first to be understood and then to understand.
Okay.
And similarly, Rahul was also in a group. He was someone who normally seems to be very calm, but at times he tends to, get perturbed or disturbed and loses his calm and get disturbed by that quite very often.
Okay, great. So how does it, so did you guys discuss how it feels when someone tells you you're not a good listener or you're very aggressive? How does it feel?
So we discuss on that as well. Initially, when you get feedback, you always, tend to take it negatively. Yeah, that I'm not such a person when you hear it for the first time. But obviously, when you discuss with others and you take opinion, and they also tell the same thing, yes, the person that whoever gave you the feedback is very much right. So you tend to realize among yourselves or introspect within yourself that probably I'm the same person, and it's difficult to, you know, let go of bad habits, but over a period of time, if you concentrate on those, probably with time, you tend to improve on your habits and become
Wonderful.
a better person.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Breakout group 3. Who was in breakout group 3?
Hi, this is Savita. Me and Parveshji were in the group 3, if I remember it correctly. We discussed that, you know, like you said, that the difficult feedback, definitely, I think they are generally these only, that somebody is not a good listener. So we both have got this feedback in our own capacities. The thing that we discuss is that why it becomes difficult at times is because your perspective about your personality and what other people think about you may differ. And the way somebody has said it, like Parveshji said that somebody told him that he's low on EQ. But what exactly the person meant was that he don't listen patiently and he interrupt in between. For him, he perceived himself as a very, very empathetic person. So taking a feedback like EQ is low was difficult for him. And similarly, I have got feedbacks like this only, that, you know, I respond and rather I react on certain communication rather than understanding and absorbing the things and then replying back. So definitely the difficult part is, until we don't discuss, once we discuss with the person who's giving the feedback, we come to know what is their understanding of it and what exactly they mean to say by it. So at first, feedback can be disheartening because of a gap in the understanding that what you were perceiving it, what it is, and what the other person intend to say that what it is. So definitely it hurts you for the first time, but if you discuss with the person who is giving the feedback, you actually come to know the bigger picture of it, and then definitely it becomes easy to absorb and implement that. So
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. So I think the common theme that's emerging here is that whatever be the uncomfortable feedback, A, it is difficult to deal with, and B, I think it's important for us to kind of seek clarification or, you know, understand from the feedback giver what exactly do they mean before, you know, just inculcating it and saying, okay, someone said something not so nice about me. Great. Breakout group 4. Who was in breakout group 4?
Hi, myself Sushant. I was in group 4 along with Dia, Payal, and Navneet ji. And we were discussing about our feedbacks which we have received. So, do we need to share each and every feedback, or just
just broad themes like previous ones? Broad themes of you know, what kind of feedback, how you felt about it, and what did you do about it?
Dia got the feedback of being ruthless, and she has taken it positively, and now we can see a change in her behavior. What the feedback she's got, and Navneet ji got the feedback of not being good in science and maths, and he can't be an engineer, but right now I think he is an engineer already working here. And myself, I have spoke like I get feedbacks very regularly, being working in the manufacturing sector. So lots of feedback comes, and most of them are negative. So I just need not bother much about those feedbacks. And
okay,
because yes, and Payal, I think she told that she got a feedback of not being trustworthy, and she got upset because of it. So
sure.
that's it.
Great. Anyone else from the group would like to add anything? Okay, let's move on. The next group, group 5.
We were in group 5. I was along with Hitesh and Kunal. Actually, we were discussing about this. We all in sprint, doing the sprint. So we were discussing about this week 3, like how, like the continue in week 3, especially when we had to analyze the hypothesis and carry out the experiments. So I think that was a time really, you know, we were finalizing some assumptions right from Monday. I think in our group it was on Wednesday, second half only, we were able to understand what exactly we were able to do from our coach. We were continuously going back to our coach, and he was continuously giving the, you know, input and the feedback. So I think the point here is that I think until and you understand the complete concept, so I think getting back to the coach again and again is also important, so that we do not lose out the way what was important. He didn't let, like, we were finalizing the assumptions only. So at the last we came to know that what hypotheses are all about, and I think this was a common discussion we had in a group today.
Great. I think that's an important point that you bring in, that, you know, feedback is also an opportunity to clarify what the expectations are, right? Because unless you know what the unless no one gives you feedback, you continue to do what you're doing. You never know whether you are on the right path or not. So feedback gives you an opportunity to go back and clarify from others as to whether you're on the right path. And that's the whole idea of a sprint. Great. Thank you for sharing. Zaira, do we have any other groups? Any other group? Yeah, we would have one more. Group 6? No.
No, I think we're done.
We're done.
We're done. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing. The coming up next is a mentee question for you, which Zaira is going to give you a link.
It's in the chat already.
Yeah, you might want to paste it again. Okay, so Diaz pointed, yes, besides listening, asking always is so important. I love this point too. Thank you, dear. And we'll dwell a little more on, you know, what to do with feedback as we go along in the workshop. So Zaira has posted a link on the chat. Please click on the link. Can we put on the mentee screen? Yeah. And answer the question there, please.
Please tell me what screen you can see.
No, this is which of the emotion spheres you have recently experienced, not this.
We sent the link for this one.
Yeah, we saw this question on Menti.
Oops. Okay. All right. So can we just then go through the slide for deck first, Zaira? Okay, let's put on the mentee screen. No, I can't see the mentee screen. Let's put that on. Never mind.
Yeah. Can you see the mentee screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, it's coming on.
Great.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, let this be, Zaira. Thank you. Okay, great. So, you know, what happens when we receive uncomfortable feedback? I mean, what do we really fear, right? So our typical fears are around self-doubt. Am I good enough, right? Then loss of control. What if I receive feedback and then that would mean that I would lose control over what I'm doing? Rejection. Would I still be a part of the peer group? Am I still a part of the larger ecosystem? Fear of failure and loss of face. You know, I have a certain image about myself. I have a certain image with other people. Will I still have that image? And the fear of exclusion. Will I be a part of a coveted group in the organization if I receive negative feedback? These are some of our fears that we experience when we receive feedback, and you guys seem to relate with it, and this is interesting that this has come up. And when Zaira shows you the slide, you'll realize that these are some of the most common fears. Research shows that these are some of the most common fears that people have when they receive feedback.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing. And let's ask the next mentee question, Zaira, which is around what emotions do you experience when you receive feedback, uncomfortable feedback? Can we do that Menti question, please? So there's another Menti question coming up for you.
Please take second link.
Zaira's put it on the chat. Click on that link, please. It's the same one, Zaira.
No, I'll come to I'll share the correct one. Just 1 sec, it's loading. Read the question. Malati, just read the question to me.
Sure.
Read the Mentimeter question.
How do you feel when you receive feedback that's uncomfortable, disturbing?
One minute. Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
It's looking good. I'll just share it. There you go. Can you see it?
Yep. Disturbed, stonewalling, denial, angry, lost, urge to defend myself, sad, not good, irritated, anxious, ashamed, disbelief, distracted, rejected, irritated. Interesting. Okay, so let's just piece this together for a moment, right? So what happens? You receive feedback that's uncomfortable, that leads you to have some sort of fears around exclusion, rejection, loss of face, failure, right? And how does it make you feel? It makes you feel angry, disturbed, distracted, sad, lost. There's disbelief, you don't feel good with yourself. Some people say, okay, I'll think about it later. Some people say, okay, this is not me. So I don't even want to hear you. I don't want to talk to you again. I don't want to see your face again because you've given me feedback. That's uncomfortable, right? So we have a myriad of emotions that create stress in our systems, right? So how does this happen? Zaira, can we toggle back to the presentation, please?
Sure.
So what's the neuroscience behind feedback? What really happens in our, what happens to us physically, mentally when we receive such feedback, right? This is the emotion associated with it, but what's happening in our brain? Let's look at that. Right? So let me ask you, start by asking you, can you give me some examples of physical pain? Anybody?
Like headache, you mean?
Yes, headache, okay. What else? Anybody else? Physical pain?
Post any physical violence or so.
Okay, post any physical violence, you might have bruised yourself, hurt yourself somewhere, right? Okay, great.
Somebody slapped me.
Someone slapped you, okay. All right. Examples of social pain. When do you experience social pain?
Seclusion.
Seclusion, okay. Seclusion, isolation.
Embarrassment.
Embarrassment, okay. What else?
Rejection.
Rejection, yes. Great. Anybody else?
Betrayal.
Betrayal. Kunal, any thoughts on what examples of social pain? Sorry?
Sprinters, we would like you to come, be interactive. This session is more for you. You will benefit from it. Along with us, of course. It would be nice for you to express what's in your mind.
Exclusion.
Okay, exclusion, yes. Thank you.
Embarrassment.
Embarrassment, harassment, betrayal. Those are examples of social pain. Okay.
Loss of face.
Loss of face. Great. So many years ago, Naomi Eisenberger from University of California wanted to study the impact of social pain on the brain. So she devised an experiment, okay? So there's something called cyberball, which is played in the US. And what she did was that she got some subjects for an experiment. And she created two avatars who were basically two avatars on the computer who were playing cyberball with these subjects, right? So initially when they started playing cyberball, and she created the game in a way that there was that, competitive spirit and like that nastiness of cyberball when you actually play it on ground, she created that in the game. So when these avatars on the computer engaged with the subjects, there was a certain part of their brain, where there was activity. And then after some time, what she did was that these avatars started playing cyberball amongst themselves. They did not pass the ball to the subject as a part of the game, and without any communication with the avatars. What happened to the subjects? They got extremely angry, extremely frustrated with what was happening, and the brain activity started happening in a different area. And what was observed was that the activity where the brain activity where it was happening in the same area as it happens when someone experiences physical pain, right? So just the fact that those two avatars on the computer had stopped playing with them, had stopped passing on the ball with them, and started playing amongst themselves without interacting with them, without letting them know what the reason was, caused so much frustration in the subjects that the activity in the brain happened in the same place where it happens when you experience physical pain. So where are we going with this, right? Piecing it back. So when you experience feedback, so what happened to these subjects? These subjects felt, that they even failed before they were given a chance to try. These subjects felt frustrated with the exclusion and the rejection from the avatars, right? So they experienced social pain. They felt, I don't know what's happening. So that is really the neuroscience of feedback. So what happens when feedback is given to you? When feedback's given to you, you feel uncomfortable, you experience social pain because you have all those fears that you listed out: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of loss of face, fear of losing your control, etc. And when you experience social pain, your brain reacts in a certain way, right? Now, okay, so let's pause here. When you touch when you put your hand on a cup of boiling water, what happens? What do you do? Anybody? What do you do when you touch boiling water?
Like,
You never move our hand away.
Move our hand away, right? So
feel pain.
Sorry?
Feel the pain, like
you feel the pain, you move your hand away. So your reaction is really flight. So what happens is that when you experience either social pain or physical pain, the reaction is either fight or flight. And that's what happens to us when we receive feedback and when we feel threatened by the feedback. Red behaviors come into play, right? What are red behaviors? We either fight. You remember that Menti question where you said you feel distressed, you feel sad, you feel not so good, you start stonewalling. Those are red behaviors. That's what happens to us when we receive. That's our first reaction to uncomfortable feedback. And why do we care about all of this? Zaira, can we bring up the next slide, please?
You see it?
Full screen, please.
Oops.
Next
you want
one.
to do this?
No, let's do the next one. I think something's moved in that slide, Zaira.
Escape and put it back.
Yeah, I'll just do that. Give me a minute. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So why do we care, right? So what happens is that when we feel threatened, the immediate reaction is fight or flight. And you're irritable, you're overwhelmed. And what happens then? There's no, your ability to think logically, your ability to listen. There you go, right? We were talking about listening, your ability to make decisions. So the whole quality of your thinking changes when you feel threatened. So you receive feedback that's uncomfortable, which is meant to help you grow. But that's not what we do. We immediately feel threatened. Our red behaviors kick in, our quality of thinking dips, and we start taking decisions which are not great. So you would have experienced many times, right, at your work situation when you are stuck with something and you're drinking cups and cups of coffee trying to solve something and nothing's coming out of it. You're getting more frustrated. Your ability to take decisions, the right decisions, your ability to collaborate with people, everything's dipping and you're putting in so much effort. So what does one do at a time like this? I think at a time like this, it's important to slow down one's thinking and say, okay, breathe. Oftentimes, that's one thing that you'd observe, that when we are stressed, sometimes we are not even breathing. I think it's important to just take that little break and say, okay, let me just breathe. Let it go. Let it go for some time. Take a walk, do something, let it go for a bit. And then once you're a little settled and calm, that's when you let the whole idea form in your head. That's when the flow will come. That's when the focus will come. That's when you will feel empowered to take the right decision. There will be more clarity, more perspective, and possibilities will emerge. And that's where ideas will spark. So what we are trying to get at is that oftentimes during work situations, we do receive feedback that's uncomfortable. we feel threatened by it. And in that situation where we are feeling threatened and our brain is encouraging red behaviors, we end up taking decisions and doing things which may not be the best for us. So it's good to pause and be able to switch to a place where we are calmer. We've assimilated the feedback. And in a minute, we will talk about, what can we do when we receive feedback to ensure that we don't have red behaviors kicking in. We have green behaviors kicking in, which are around flow, focus, and empowerment. So we'll just talk about that in a minute. But in the meantime, I'd like you to type on chat, what do you think happens to you when your performance, when you feel threatened at work? What happens to your performance? Can you just type on chat, please? Dismal. Okay, performance is dismal. Navneet is saying. Anybody else? Confused. You feel confused. Okay, great. Low self-esteem. Okay. What else? Chaotic. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, Pravesh, for sharing. Thank you, Savita. Thank you, Kunal. Thank you, Navneet. Anyone else wants to type in? Blinded. Okay. Unable to, figure out where to go because you're blinded. You don't know where to go. Thank you, Jyoti. I feel stuck. Okay. Anyone else? So all these behaviors are red behaviors that kick in when we feel threatened. Okay, let's talk about a time when you are feeling empowered and confident at work. What happens to your performance? Can we type it on chat, please? Okay, we elevate, we feel motivated, excellent, surpassed, awesome. Okay, high esteem, motivated. And what happens when you're motivated? Can we also talk parallelly? What happens when you're motivated? What happens to your performance? What's the quality of your thinking? You have improved performance. Okay, great. Productivity goes up. You surpass the targets. You have innovative thinking. Awesome. Mind becomes stronger. Absolutely. You exceed expectations, feel confident. Great. And so the moment you feel empowered and you're on top of the world. Thank you, Navneet, for sharing. So the moment you're feeling empowered and you're feeling confident at work, your green behaviors kick in, where you are thinking innovatively, you are surpassing expectations, your mind is stronger, you're feeling confident, you surpass your targets, your productivity increases. So all good things happen. You're excited about. I'm hoping it's not exited and this is a typo and it's excited, Rahul. Wonderful. Okay, great. So that's what happens, right? So then if we all understand this cognitively, we all understand that when we are feeling empowered and confident, then our best green behaviors kick in and they lead to improved performance. Then what can we do next time when we receive feedback? What should we do? So let's discuss that as a group. If we all understand it cognitively, it's important that we do something different. Like right at the beginning, someone had said about their favorite quote that if we continue to do the same thing, then we cannot expect different results, right? So if we continue to feel dejected, if we continue to feel upset about the feedback that we receive, then we will continue to feel threatened and we'll continue to kind of be confused, etc., about our behaviors, right? And our performance will get impacted. So let's see what is it that we can do different now to ensure when we receive feedback, we take it differently. So Saira, can we bring up the next slide, please?
This one?
Yeah. Okay. So let's do a fun exercise. Next one, please. Okay. Do you recognize these people here?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And what do you know about them? Anybody?
Their self-confidence.
Okay, they're self-confident. Okay. Anything about their life journey that you know?
Rags to riches.
Sorry?
Rags to riches. Like they all started from humble backgrounds and they made it big.
They made it big, right? Okay.
Self-motivated, strongly motivated.
Self-motivated, okay.
Desire to become the number one or desire to reach the top level.
Desire to reach the top level, yes.
Tough struggle in life.
Struggle in life. And what did they do with that struggle?
They used it to
They challenged
better.
They challenged the struggles and moved ahead. They didn't
challenged the struggle and learned from the experiences and moved ahead.
Absolutely, you hit the hammer on the nail, Kunal, that they learned from their challenges, they learned from their struggles, and that's where they wanted to move ahead, and that's how they moved ahead. Absolutely. Anybody else? They wanted to do something different, says Rahul. Thank you.
They chased their dreams, like they believed in their own dreams, and irrespective of whatever was happening, they keep on, moving, kept on moving.
Despite of whatever happened, they kept on moving. Absolutely. So despite of their misses and despite of their hits, and also a lot of humility. Like for instance, Amitabh Bachchan, wherever he had reached in his life, then ABCL happened. He was, down to the lowest, and then he started with KBC and, doing ads like hair oils, etc. I mean, that's humility, that after having reached a certain level, you're willing to kind of start afresh with a quiz show, and that led to his success again.
I think they have not let the failures hit them, because they all have get very, very negative feedback initially, because when Smriti went for her first serial, she was being demeaned that how can she be the main lead of the serial, and similarly Mr. Bachchan was demeaned for his voice when he went for the All India radio joining and all that. So I think they have learned to embrace the negative feedback and how to use it as a fuel to go further for their dreams, and they did not let the initial careers to define their own life. Like Smriti started as a background dancer, and similarly they all have different jobs that they have initially took up. So they have not let those initial jobs to define who they are, where they want to reach, and they embrace the abundance with that mentality that whatever their current reality is, that does not define what they want to become in life on a later stage.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure. I think I'm presuming that all of them had a very strong MTP.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Great. So, I mean, I think what's common amongst them is that they did not let the early part of their lives define who they would become. They took their struggles and feedback very positively, and they converted it into an opportunity. All of them overcame failure to become great leaders. So there's a lot of inspiration there, and that really segues into our last part of the masterclass, which is about how do you feed forward to success. So Zaira, can we bring up that slide, please? Yeah, okay. So when we receive feedback, right? So you go back to the mentee question that we had asked, that what is the emotion that you associate with feedback? And we had said that we associate dejection, we feel sad, etc. Why? Because oftentimes when we receive feedback, we think it's about me. But remember, feedback is about your work. It's about a particular skill that you have. It is not about who you are as a person, right? So tomorrow, if someone were to come and tell me this project that you have done is not good, it does not mean that I am not good as a professional. It means that this piece of work that I have done is not the best. And that's fine, because, you know, in our careers, when we are doing like 100 things, we might be doing some things which are great, some things which are average, and we are not perfect at everything. And the idea is that we learn as we go along. So feedback is about your work and it's not about you. So I think that's the fundamental thing to get to understand, and that will change your perspective towards feedback. Okay, the next one, please. Zaira. So feedback is really an opportunity to grow. And, you know, that's the reason that we brought up all the people that we talked about, that all of them have failed at some point in time in their lives, right? And they have used, they have converted that struggle into an opportunity. They have converted into an opportunity to grow. So I think that's the most important thing, that feedback is not about feeling dejected and sad and stonewalling and saying that, you know, I cannot do this anymore and I don't want to do this anymore. Is about saying, how do I go from here? How do I grow from here? So what do you really do? So this is the thinking, right? This is the thinking behind it. The next part of it is, then what should you do? What are some of the practical tips? Moving on. Own it and hone it, right? So unless you accept the feedback. So stonewalling is about saying, this does not belong to me. And if it does not belong to you, you will not do anything about it, right? Or saying, feeling dejected. Again, you're saying, I'm not owning it, because owning it is about saying, okay, I must have done something which I need to work on. So own it and hone it, because our brains are naturally wired to surround ourselves with people who will say nice things about us, right? How many of us will call our critiques and say, okay, we love to chat with you? We don't. We like to have our friends, loved ones around us who are going to say nice things, right? So it's important to welcome feedback. It's important to welcome people in our lives who would give you feedback which is constructive. So own it and hone it. Next one. Use the time for self-reflection. So what happens is that sometimes someone's given you feedback about one aspect of your life, right? But this is a great opportunity for you to think, what more can I do? What else can I do different, right? So for example, one of the feedback that I would always get is that, you know, you're not good with networking, okay, as an example. Now, that's one feedback, but that's a great opportunity for me to think, what else can I do different? How do I do things differently to ensure that I not only network, but also pick up another skill? The next one, please. Use the opportunity to clarify expectations. And that's what someone had said initially, that oftentimes feedback is a great opportunity to clarify expectation. When someone was talking about a sprint, that we kept going back to our coaches. And that's a great thing to do, because sometimes we haven't understood what the ask is of us. And no amount of questions are right or wrong. So if you have clarifying questions, if you want to understand something, it's best for you to continue to clarify what those expectations are. And last but not the least, remember that all of us have certain strengths and have certain things that we don't do so well, right? It's important to recognize what we don't do so well and find resources and network with people who will fill in that gap, right? Rather than saying, I'm going to do everything and I'm going to learn everything. The power is in collaboration, networking, and finding resources to complete you, rather than saying, I want to complete myself by learning everything, right? So recognize what your strengths are, recognize what you aren't good at, and add on to resources and collaborate with people who can help you learn those, who can support you there. So that's really what we had. So feedback is great because it gives you inputs, comments, and reviews, and that's what will lead to your success. So with that, we will ask you another Menti question, and then there will be time to discuss and reflect on what happened during this masterclass. So your Menti question now is that, having gone through this masterclass, what are the emotions that you would associate with feedback?
Give me a minute.
Yeah, it'll come up.
Just 1 second.
Okay, the Menti question is on your chat window. Zaira, we have to clear this one. Yeah, it has to be another one, I think. Must be the other.
Clear. It's buffering. 1 minute.
Yeah, this one.
It's coming up too slow. Just read the question.
Yeah, the question, no, not this one, Zaira. That's the previous one. This is what we've already filled in. Sorry, just give us a minute, please. Okay, so while we wait, how do you feel? Any thoughts about the workshop? What is it leaving with you with?
One-to-one feedback is less stressful compared to what Homi Mullah does with the relationship guru. He makes us sit in center and 10 people have to give feedback at one time. To absorb that feedback of 10 people at one time, and you cannot respond at least till the evening. And that is the most stressful moment that your bosses are there, your peers are there, your subordinates are there, who are all giving you feedback, and you are sitting in the center and accepting that feedback. Until evening, you cannot talk to those 10 people.
Got it. Okay, so we had asked the same question before we started the workshop, and we are asking this again. Can you please, click on the link that Zaira has shared and fill this in? So people are saying we'll use this as a stepping stone. We'll take it positively. Someone saying we still feel distressed with it, but people are saying patience, introspection, radical openness, way to learn, etc. So I think there's been a shift in the way we are thinking about feedback, and that's great. I'd like to take some time. We still have about 8 minutes. I'd like you to share with us how you felt through this journey of, talking about feedback, and how you feel about feedback. How have you felt through this masterclass?
Maybe can I share just two things, because I found this masterclass very inspiring, and actually a lot of experiences and thoughts came up in my mind, and especially now that Pravesh was mentioning this like really tough practice of being given like group feedback, and then not being able to reflect, because somehow the disrupt session is similar. You will be sitting with the disruptors and you have to listen to the feedback, and you won't
Not
have the
yet.
chance to respond. Yes. So and this is real life. I've built up to quite successful startups in the past 10 years, and I remember so many times when I was completely stressed out because the market or the partners or someone was not responding the way I expected. So one thing is that what I've learned is that when I get feedback, of course I'm not reacting at the same time, because then I'm emotionally very influenced, but also I have to channel that emotional energy. So there can be a strategy for everyone. My strategy is sport. So I go out and run like a crazy, or mountain bike like crazy, because I have to get it out of my system. So it's not so easy always to just switch from disturbed to happy and optimistic. Sometimes you have to bridge, this feeling to the next. So I think it's important that we all find a way to take that feeling, that anger, that whatever is inside us, and transform it to something better. So for me, sport is the big help. For others, maybe it's music, maybe it's just a walk in nature. It can be many things. And time. So you are creating time between, Sushant, you need to mute. Creating time between the impulse and the reaction. So you get feedback on Friday from the disruptors. Just, take it and don't do anything with it until Monday. Create some space between the impulse and your reaction, because then the dust settles a little bit. Your emotions can calm down. Maybe you can go for a walk in nature. Maybe you can have a good sleep. Maybe you watch a good movie, something that will channel this energy out of your system. I mean, some of the feedback will be very positive. Some of it may make you a little bit frustrated. And only start working on it on Monday, because this space that you are creating between the two, and this little time that you are giving yourself to transform whatever feelings are stirred up in you, that will help you to look at the feedback with the clarity of mind. So that's one thing that came up in me, and I think it's very important, and it happens to all of us. The other thing is that sometimes we misinterpret the feedback as well. So sometimes we think he thought this when he said, and sometimes it's completely wrong. So sometimes I feel like, okay, this person is judging me, and the reality is that maybe that person was actually making a compliment. It's only my filters that make it look like I'm being judged, because maybe I'm judging myself or something. So it's also very important that, maybe we don't know what the person means, and then we have to go and ask to understand deeper and to have like a clearer picture, because that can be also very biased by our own perception of ourselves, what the other person is saying. So these are the two things that I wanted to share.
Thank you for sharing, Dia. That's
Dia, very beautiful.
Yeah, very useful perspective.
Very useful, particularly for the sprinters from the sprint perspective. I think they'll totally relate to what you're saying, and I'm sure they'll think of you tomorrow, when they get this feedback. Yeah.
When they go out running afterwards.
So whoever, sprinters, whoever's here, would you like to just turn on your cameras? Just 2 minutes more. I just want to check with you how going through this journey that he's taken us from, and what Dia's just explained to us. How prepared and how do you feel about the upcoming Disrupt tomorrow? What are your fears? What are your uncertainties? Any doubts? How do you feel? How are you feeling at this moment with respect to the Disrupt coming up tomorrow? Savita?
And anxiety, I would say. A lot of anxiety. Nervousness.
Anxiety.
Though it's like excitement as well, that we have been getting it for the last 5 weeks. So I'm excited, but yes, I'm very, very anxious on it.
The rest of you can type in the chat as
about, like, there could be, I'm not worried about that there could be negative feedback because that's the job of disruptors, but I'm worried on my part of deliverance, not on the part that I'll be getting the feedback.
Okay. Anybody else? Keeping fingers crossed, anxious. Yes. Navneet?
Yeah, I think we are pretty excited for tomorrow's session because I think the team has done good work in the last 4 weeks. I mean, we have been struggling with the regular work too, and we have been taking out time for all these activities. So I think it's a time of showcasing what all hard work has been done by the team to the people, and let's take the feedback in a positive side, like the session we had today. So I think it's pretty good for us, and we'll take it in a very positive stride, whatever feedback comes, and we'll work on it.
Excellent. Well said, Navneet, and good luck to you. I'm going to call on each of you to share. Okay, Rahul? Just few of us, so we have that luxury to do that. Rahul?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you feel about the Disrupt tomorrow? After going through this session?
Yeah, ma'am, it is a new learning for us. Actually, motivated session all for 4 weeks we have done, and really excited for the further weeks. I think it will go for 10 weeks, so it is a great learning for us.
Yeah, that's true. But कल के बारे में कैसे लग रहा है आपको?
Ma'am, what to say, ma'am? Very much conscious कि this is a presentation in front of the top management, so would it would be good.
Right.
Yes, cross finger is
Okay.
there.
Keeping fingers crossed. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And कैसे लग रहा है आप लोगों को when you think about week 10, the big launch? What is the feeling? क्या feeling आ रही है about week 10?
Ma'am, asking from me?
No, we can ask. You can tell us. Yes, Rahul.
Yes. Ma'am, it is a great learning, as I already said, and we will take much knowledge and experience. There are very much experienced guy are there, our mentor or coach. So it is actually a beneficial program for us. So we take a great learning from you guys.
Right. Now we're it's 5:30, so we'll wrap up. Any one last person I would like you to share anything about the Disrupt? Tomorrow's Pravesh says survival of the fittest, jo jeeta wohi Sikandar. Okay, you'll have to interpret that for Dia.
I think one very important point is the best part of these sessions have been the bent of the mind has changed. I mean, the way we people think. I mean, earlier we never used to think about those things when